All right, straight to the people. We're talking Lions. There's a lot of blame to go around. What's your level of panic, concern, whatever verbiage you want? It's the whole operation right now. It's bad. Turnovers, penalties, a bad defense, a quarterback who's spiraling. None of it's good. And then factor in 2 critical injuries to the centerpiece of both, Frank Ragnow on the O-line and Aleem McNeil on the D-line. And you've got, look, from a mentality standpoint, a must-win game this Saturday night at home. I mean, they guys, when you play a bad month of football, I'm sorry. Tell me what they're doing well. They didn't just lose to Chicago. They got punked. So that's what we're rapping about today. Anything else? You good?
Let's go.
All right, good to see. Glad no one's gone full Juwan Howard today. Excellent.
Monitoring that.
Yes, because we all know we can trust a Michigan investigation. I'm sure they'll be truthful and forthright. Let's go to Paul, 97.1. What's up, Paul?
Hey, Michael, Rico.
Paulie.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Kenny, David. Rico, I got to throw you a big attaboy. I'm telling you. Yesterday in the pregame, all your worst fears came true, so it's all your fault. But I'll say this, guys. The North next year is going to put the league on notice. The North just got a lot tougher in 2024. So Holmes has got his work cut out for him next April. There's no question. No more luxury picks. You gotta build yourself a team of dogs. But yesterday was bad, really bad everywhere. It might be the worst Lions performance I've seen in quite some time. Not going to push the panic button until what I see Saturday. Question, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is 11 wins going to be enough, guys? Depending especially on how they perform the rest of the way. What do you guys think?
Well, hold on. I mean, the tiebreaker is if they're 11-6 and Green Bay's 11-6, Green Bay wins the division.
Now, why would that be, Mike? Just refresh
divisional record.
Yeah, I think it's the record in the division. I think Rico's nailed it. I can double check on it, Paulie, but I don't think it's enough to control your destiny.
Okay, well, with the personnel we have, you hope we get a little healthier in the next 4 games. But this is kind of the way it's been for the Lions most of the year. Players going down, guys coming up, next man up. We've seen the very best, and now we're seeing the very worst. You look at what's going on in Philadelphia and elsewhere in the NFL. And
yeah, but Paul, think about this. Paulie, hold on one second. All right, you bring up Philly. This is case in point. That's a team that won a Super Bowl last year. They
were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, excuse me.
They went to. Won a few years ago.
But, Paul, you don't get to have a bad month of football. They stole the Chiefs game. They stole the Bills game. They got drilled by the Niners, drilled by the Cowboys. You're talking about panic. If you plan on being one of those teams, this is the standard. You don't get to have a bad month.
No, you're right. You know, you play like you did yesterday, you are going absolutely nowhere. Even if you do get 11 wins, you're going to get pummeled in the playoffs. So
I really think part of this, and this is where it's hard if Ragnow is not available, Paulie, I think they need to dial it back a little bit. They know their quarterback is struggling for one reason or another. Run the ball. We got to shorten these games. I'll tell you the other thing, Paul, and I know Cookies, if he's listening, his head's going to explode. Punt the ball.
Yeah, that 4th and 10 was ridiculous.
I'll say this,
but,
Paul.
Go ahead.
No. In the Dallas game, go for it. Run the trick plays. Do what you have to do.
If you're playing a premium opponent.
It's on the road. This is one of the top teams.
You know, Rico, that's a great point. When is the last time we've seen one of Johnson's gadget plays? It's at least been 5 or 6 games.
Well, you ran the gadget. No, well, you ran one last week against the Saints when
the double
scored.
Reverse. But I mean, Paul, here's the thing: when you're not executing the basics, like look at your second half. I mean, here it is for the 3:30 audience. Here's the second half. Hard to run gadget plays when it's punt, fumble, downs, pick. 4 possessions in the third quarter, 3 and out.
Sounds like a bad country song.
Mix in the word tailgate and my dog, and you'd have it. You'd have a Jason Aldean classic. Right. I mean, it's just, guys, you know what it is? I think I've arrived at a point. It's not just this one thing that's the villain. It's everything. It's all encompassing. And that falls on the head coach. It's his operation.
Yeah. This is a team that has not evolved. And as they got better, as they got hit 8-2, they're still trying to do the same things that got them to 8-2 instead of taking it to another level. Teams figured you out. They know your plays. They know your weaknesses, and you hit the injury. So now you're struggling, and you haven't been the same since that Ravens game. Even though you've won some games, fortunately you played lesser opponents. The Raiders fired their OC because he was so bad on Monday night.
Go to Brian, 97.1. Hi, Brian.
How you doing, guys? Love the show.
Thanks. B. What's up?
My panic level is I'm going to follow Paul's point where I'm going to wait till Saturday. And on that game, I'm really irritated. I haven't heard anybody bring this up, but I'm not happy that the league bumped this up to a short, so they're playing on a short week. I know everybody's banged up at this point of the season, but with all the injuries they've got, I think that one extra day, having a full week, that would it might make a difference.
Well, I mean, sure it would, but I mean, Minnesota's in the same spot. Reports today are if it were a regular week, they'd have a better shot with Justin Jefferson, but now because of the short week, they'd be very surprised if he plays. I mean, listen, Brian, I'm an 80-year-old, basically. I don't like any of this. I'm with you. I don't need Thursday night. I don't need Saturday matinee. I think it affects the game unnaturally. So I agree, but the problem is we don't get to cry. You know what I mean? Plenty of other teams are affected by it.
Right.
Yeah, and about on Campbell's going on fourth down, I'm done. I can't scream about it anymore. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's.
I like it in certain instances.
It's who the guy is.
Yeah, no, I know it is, and believe me, I'm all for, legitimate discussion on win probability, but only with people that are going to acknowledge the shortcomings of win probability. It does not take into account injuries. It does not take into account who you're playing. It does not take into account the actual flow of the game. It's telling you that if you do this over the course of 1,000,000 times, this is allegedly what will work. Well, here's the thing. If my quarterback's Patrick Mahomes and Drew Lock's on the other side, well, that's one set of win probabilities I'd like to know about. If I have Jared Goff wearing dance gloves outside in freezing weather and I'm facing the Bears, not the Niners, I'm allowed to have a different conversation.
Right. And the fact, even if you're going to do that and analytics dictate that you do, come up with a better play. Well, I've never been one to understand why on 4th and 1 do you turn around and give the ball back 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and hoping that your guy can just pick up the yard. Like, if you're not going to do the Philly shove or whatever, come up with a QB sneak. You shouldn't have to turn around and hand the ball that far back.
Or calling 1986, down 12 with 12 and a half to go, punt the ball.
Oh, you're not allowed to do that.